We're fiddling and Rome's burning. No, it's not Rome, it's our country. Hello, this is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. If you want to see how the wildfires are doing, watch the news. If you want to see what we might do about them, watch this video. Wildfires are destroying our jobs and homes and creating financial loss and psychological trauma. If it seems a little hazy, that's because the smoke is pretty thick today. What do we really need to combat these wildfires that are literally burning down our country? We need at least 5 things. Number 1 is already half in place. We need to help our political leadership rethink about our resources to fight wildfires. So far, we have not made the maximum use of our resources, even those resources that are already paid for and partly in place. We will come back to this later in the video. While we have a chance, let's look at a piece of Canada untouched by fire. A perfect silhouette of a mountain lake. Have you ever heard that story in the Christian Bible when that old emperor of Rome, Nero, fiddled while Rome burned? History often has a way of repeating itself. Anyway, that's what old historians say. But you know, what do they really know? In the meantime, let's enjoy Canada. Oh, Canada, she's a beauty of a country. And, the promise of more of the same forever in a never-changing world. Hey, Mr. Cameraman, will you stop playing that fiddle music? This is not Rome, and old Emperor Nero is long gone, I think. Or maybe, unless there's somebody else playing the fiddle today. Canada is blessed with the richest and largest boreal forest on planet Earth. But we have learned the hard way that it can all change quickly. Land that once looked like this, lush and green, now looks like this, and it takes a long time to grow back. And the first to grow back is the fireweed. It's a frightening thing to see a fire like this headed for your community. Okay, let's take off and look at some of the best ways to prepare for the next wildfire season. Here is number 5. By our Constitution, provinces control natural resources like forests that are within the provincial boundaries. But the feds control interprovincial things. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean no federal firefighting involvement until a fire crosses a provincial boundary line? It's just a little confusing. No wonder the feds, the federal cabinet never met until a week or so after communities had burned and people had fled for their lives. It is like closing the corral gate after the horses have run out. Large fires can create their own wind. They can also create dry lightning with no rain that start up new fires. It is a devastating cycle, and this is the kind of stuff that's left. To combat these scenes, it is obvious that we need more money for wildfire suppression. But how much can we rob from desperate other needs, like building affordable housing and health care? But wait, there is some wiggle room. Canada continues to be 2% below our agreed-upon international military agreements with NATO. We could build up that 2% deficit by increasing firefighting capabilities in the military and that would amount to millions of dollars going into enhance a structure already partially existing. Right now, the Canadian military plays only a minor backup supportive role in fighting wildfires. They come in for mop-up operations. At best, they'll do some help on evacuations during a fire, but direct fighting of the fire is beyond their definition. The current role that is limited to putting out hotspots in a background supportive non-leadership role is no longer tolerable in our new world of huge, destructive, and dangerous wildfires. Being a member of the armed forces, and to some extent these urban firefighting units, it's early retirement with dignity. Numbers drive the same point home. Most wildfire fighting is done by mainly volunteers, 70%. And fewer, that percentage is going down. In the meantime, we have 70,000 in our military, paid for, regular military, and 30,000 in reserves. A total of 100,000 workers already established and paid for, while the real wildfire fight is being done with a majority of volunteers. How better could you spell the words political irresponsibility? Our political leaders are not doing the required job, and our country is literally burning apart. Here is another related problem. There was a time when city firemen made Christmas toys for children. But that became too apparent that maybe the firefighting people didn't have enough to do. Too much time polishing their fancy red fire trucks. So those toys are no longer made at Christmas time so much. Hey, why is all the traffic coming this way? Seems kind of odd to me. Here comes some more traffic. Looks like rats getting off the sinking ship. Looking a little worse. Even a little more worse. Not even safe in some towns, maybe. Look at that. The fire is in full view, and it looks like the wind is kind of blowing it my way. Communities from Atlantic to Pacific have felt the heated rage of wildfires. Number 3, we need more and better trained firefighters. There were only 400 military personnel in the area even after residents had fled the Yellowknife fire. And these military personnel were hardly trained or experienced firefighters. And where was the military? Most were in the comfort of their subsidized housing, or sipping on good wine or rich whiskey in the base cantina. Now, this is probably an overstatement, but it needs to be said because it is too much truth in it to remain acceptable. The sudden onslaught of wildfires have forced us into sending people to the fire with inadequate training. Paid firefighters participate in a short boot camp and then face the front lines. After a fitness test, the main challenge seems to be ability to carry a 20-kilogram pack over 4.8 kilometers in 45 minutes, and you are basically ready to go and face the heat of the fire. It is a start, but it is just not good enough. Given time, we must insist to do better. While most military remain in the comfort of the base, firefighters sleep in tents like these on the hard ground and work long, hard hours throughout the day. In the background, you can hear the Inuit people of the community of Palatak in the high Arctic. They gathered in their community hall to sing Amazing Grace and other songs to express their concern and support of others in the south who were struggling with wildfires and in many cases forced to evacuate their homes and flee elsewhere. Heavy smoke can blot out the sun in midday, and darkness can then make it even more dangerous. Firefighters must continually try to assess the changing and related conditions of the fire. Things like changes in the humidity, the precipitation, the wind speed, wind direction, intensity and temperature of the fire itself, the height and length of the flames, and how fast the fire is moving across the land. No doubt about it, firefighting is a dangerous job. Lightning is a natural cause of fires. By people, it's fireworks, downed power lines, and unattended campfires. Also, unextinguished cigarette butts like this one, and unattended brush that's been cut and dried out. It's waiting to explode into fire. It's a recipe for disaster. Railways have been identified as a source for wildfires since historic times with the old steam locomotives. But sparks still fly when turning metal wheels strike the steel rails. The train companies have been taken to court on occasion for starting devastating fires. Nowadays, we are seeing a new kind of smoke, not just clouds like this of dark smoke from burning wood. This new smoke comes from a greater intense heat that creates updrafts. Timber literally explodes into the air, causing thunderstorms and lightning and more fires. Movement is no longer horizontal only. It is now vertical and more erratic and unpredictable, making it even more dangerous for firefighters. These new kinds of big mushroom white clouds we're seeing are called pyrocumulus. What else is so desperately needed? Canada desperately needs number 2, updated modern equipment. Some of our water bombers are 50 years old. One time recognized as a world leader for manufacturing firefighting aircraft, today we have locked ourselves into contracts and commitments to produce new aircraft for other countries, making it very difficult to produce aircraft for Canadian priorities. Could we declare a new emergency and renege on the contracts, or buy them out? Or do we do the honorable thing and watch our country burn? It is time for politicians to lead into a new course of action. That new course of action is a new definition of the role of the military. The role of the military must change from its current passive, supportive role to one in which is an active first responder. The role of any military is to battle the enemy. But we have never had an enemy army ever show up on Canada's doorstep. We have had to send our troops to Europe and Asia to find an enemy. But there is a new enemy on our land. It is called wildfire. And we have a structure already established and paid for that sits and does nothing, waiting for the politicians to give them the call for action. That call for action has come, but it has come too little, too late. The military must wait until the province asks for help, and that is usually at a point in which provincial firefighters are overwhelmed and the fire has consumed property and caused residents to flee for their lives. Only then does the military arrive to perform, and then only non-direct firefighting tasks, like airlifting residents out of the area, staging, whatever that might mean, and other, as they say, logical tasks, whatever that might mean. In other words, it is secondary support only, and made available, as I said before, after trying to close the gate after the horses have run out of the corral. What is the point? After people have had, they've lost their property, their livelihood, and forced to flee literally down the road. Our politicians need to rewrite the new critical role of the military in two ways. First, the military needs to be equipped and trained so it can be a first responder. Second, they need to work in mitigating construction. That is work that will lessen the impact of future wildfires when they do break out. Most of this work should be cleaning up the forest near communities and building fire breaks and access roads. Right now, the military is neither equipped nor trained to attack the new wildfire enemy. Like never before, we need politicians who will rewrite the role of the military in protecting our country. After watching this video, do more than just hit the subscribe button. Way more important is to send this video or your own message to both your provincial MLA and members of Parliament. The politicians have to get on board and on the saddle horse if we're going to counteract these wildfires. This is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. Send the video again or write a letter, make a phone call. They need your help. So long for now, we're rolling on. Stop that fiddling. Stop that burning. We are still making travel videos of everything everywhere. If you want to see some of them, it says on the bottom there, just Google, start with the little @ sign there, and my name, Don Barnett 5090. That's my YouTube channel number, and hit the word playlists when you see it and scroll down. Each playlist has, 15 or 20 videos in it, and I've got about 15 or 20 or more playlists. All right, we're rolling on. Stop fiddling around.